Title: The Day I Was Treated Like a Stranger on My Own Property. Samantha Collins exhaled deeply as the last rays of sunlight filtered through the dense tree line, bathing her boutique rental estate in a warm, golden glow. The reflection of the setting sun shimmered off the surface of her pristine pool, its rippling water dancing in the evening light. She always found this moment peaceful, the calm before the estate settled into its nightly quiet. Every evening, she made it a ritual to close up the pool herself. To most, it might have seemed odd for the owner of a luxury estate to do something as mundane as adjusting chlorine levels and stacking lounge chairs. But to Samantha, this wasn't just a business, it was her legacy. Nearly a decade of hard work, late nights, and personal sacrifice had turned a struggling dream into a flourishing success. She fought tooth and nail for this place. She remembered the uphill battle of securing a loan, the endless paperwork for permits, and the countless nights spent handling maintenance tasks alone because she couldn't afford to hire help. Now, her estate was a thriving retreat, drawing high-end guests who valued privacy and peace. Samantha clicked the latch on the pool gate, securing it, when a sharp voice pierced the quiet. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" She turned slowly, already bracing herself for what was coming. Standing at the edge of the property was a woman, mid-50s, with perfectly styled hair and a blazer far too formal for the neighborhood's laid-back vibe. Her arms were crossed tight against her chest, her chin raised in that particular way people did when they felt superior. Her eyes squinted at Samantha like she was solving a complicated equation. "I'm closing the pool for the evening," Samantha replied calmly. The woman took a few bold steps forward, clearly undeterred. "You work here?" she asked, her voice laced with suspicion. Samantha let the question hang in the air for a moment, the implication as clear as day. She'd been here before, metaphorically at least. She'd encountered this type of assumption more times than she could count. But tonight, she wasn't in the mood for games. "I own this property," she said, her tone firm but polite. The woman blinked, visibly trying to process the words. Then, just as quickly, she scoffed. "Oh, really? That's funny, because I happen to know the owner." Samantha tilted her head, her patience thinning. "Is that so?" "Yes," the woman insisted, her voice sharp with authority. "This is a high-end rental. The owner wouldn't be okay with some random person locking things up." Samantha inhaled deeply. "I'm the owner. My name is Samantha Collins. I purchased this estate in 2014. But the woman wasn't listening. Her hand was already fishing for her phone. "You need to leave. Right now. I'm calling the police." A dry chuckle escaped Samantha before she could stop it. "You're calling the police on me? On my own property?" "Exactly. If you really own this place, I'm sure you won't mind proving it when the officers get here." And just like that, she pressed the call button. Samantha didn't flinch. She'd seen how these situations could spiral, but there was a strange calmness in her chest tonight. She watched the woman as she paced, her phone pressed tightly against her ear. "Yes, I need officers at the Willow Creek estate," the woman practically shouted. "There's someone trespassing, locking up the pool like she owns the place." Samantha caught fragments of the dispatcher's voice through the muffled speaker. "No, I don't know her name," the woman continued, her free hand gesturing wildly. "But she refuses to leave." Samantha crossed her arms and waited. The woman's smug sense of control was palpable, like she had done her civic duty by calling in an obvious trespasser. But Samantha had been here before, not physically, but emotionally, navigating the unspoken judgments, the silent questions about whether she belonged in the spaces she had worked hard to create for herself. The distant wail of sirens broke through the peaceful evening. "Here we go," Samantha muttered. Blue and red lights washed over the estate as two patrol cars rolled up the driveway. Doors popped open, and two officers stepped out. The lead officer, tall with a sharp jawline and an unreadable expression, strode forward, his partner, a shorter, stockier man, following close behind. The woman practically ran to meet them, waving her arms dramatically. "Officers, thank goodness you're here," she said breathlessly, pointing at Samantha like she was a wanted criminal. She's been locking up the pool, pretending she owns the place. The lead officer's gaze shifted to Samantha. Ma'am, do you live here? I own this property, Samantha replied evenly. The woman let out a bitter laugh. No, she doesn't. The officer ignored her, turning back to Samantha. Do you have any ID or proof of ownership? Samantha kept her movements slow and deliberate as she reached into her pocket. She wasn't about to risk anything by making sudden moves, especially not now. She handed him her driver's license. I also have property documents inside if you need them, she offered. The officer studied the ID for a beat, then his brow furrowed. He glanced at his partner, then back at Samantha. MS. Collins. That's me. His posture relaxed a fraction, but his face remained mostly neutral. You were on the news a few years back, weren't you? The community outreach project in San Francisco? Samantha allowed a small smile. That's me. Damn, the officer muttered, clearly recognizing her now. My niece got a scholarship through that program. The woman's confidence crumbled before Samantha's eyes. She's her? The woman sputtered. The officer gave her a tight-lipped nod. Samantha tilted her head. So, let me get this straight. You saw me, a black woman, locking up my pool and jumped straight to calling the cops. The woman flushed deep red. Don't twist my words. I'm not twisting anything, Samantha shot back. I'm repeating exactly what happened. The second officer finally spoke. Ma'am, did she ever threaten you? No, but... Did she refuse to leave your property? No, but I thought. You thought, the officer echoed. That's the issue. The woman opened her mouth, but there was nothing left to say. She'd been wrong, dead wrong, and now it was painfully obvious to everyone. Samantha sighed and looked at the officers. Are we done here? The lead officer nodded. Unless you want to file a complaint. She considered it for a moment, but then shook her head. She's embarrassed herself enough tonight. The woman visibly flinched at the words. As the officers made their way back to their cars, Samantha turned and called out, Next time, think before you pick up the phone. The woman didn't respond. She simply stood there, frozen in her shame, as the police cruisers disappeared into the night. Back inside her house, Samantha leaned against the door, feeling the tension slowly leave her shoulders. Her phone buzzed. A text from her assistant, Chloe. Heard there were cops at the estate. Everything okay? Samantha smiled faintly. Just some neighborhood drama. Nothing I couldn't handle. She added a second message. Let's add a meet the owner section to the welcome packet. Might avoid this in the future. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the windows as Samantha scrolled through her phone. A video had surfaced online. One of the guests had filmed the whole ordeal. The caption read, She called the cops on the owner. You can't make this up. The video was already racking up thousands of views, the comments a flood of outrage, support, and of course, the usual internet debates. But Samantha didn't feel the need to join in. The video spoke for itself. As she sipped her coffee, she smiled. She wasn't going to let anyone, not a stranger or the internet, define who she was or question her right to be exactly where she belonged. Because this was hers, and she had earned every inch of it.